Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real. Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Get real good. That's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Woo-wee. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality Radio. We are live with your global host, happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, teacher, and most importantly, always a student. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for following the show and sharing the show. The show is growing organically. I don't know how, because I'm really not good at marketing, but I really appreciate all you new listeners. And I've been doing this Reality Spirituality Radio show for, probably 12 years now. And I just remember, let me just digress a little bit. I just remember when I first started, believe it or not, I'm going to let you in on a little behind the scenes. Believe it or not, to put together a sentence, and I just remember recording a show and looking at my watch and saying, gee, it's only been 2 minutes. Now what do I talk about? And I remember just wishing to be able to speak freely without a script and just be able to share what I've learned about this thing we call happiness, the truth about happiness. And when I ask people, do they want to experience more happiness, or you want to be happier? Yeah, everybody's raising their hand. Well, not everybody's raising their hand. In fact, that was a lesson that I learned just this year, that everybody isn't interested in finding peace. Everybody isn't interested in being happy. Everybody isn't interesting. And that was a cold baseball bat to the back of my head, because I'm thinking, of course. But see, that's the beauty of this journey, is always staying open to all. And I had to do that. Stay open to all possibilities. Stay open to all beliefs that may be shattered. Stay open to it all. Now I'm getting off the track, because I'm supposed to be doing an introduction. And when I say happiness specialist, what the hell does that mean? That means that in every single moment, and it is a conscious choice, in a self-awareness in every single moment to practice living, being conscious, living. And especially when I say being conscious, that means you know exactly what you're saying. In every moment, there are no surprises. So that means, here we go. That means being able to recognize your programmed beliefs. The book that I'm writing now is called Program for Unhappiness. And the unhappiness, the programming is the cause for the unhappiness. And let me just back up a little bit and give you my definition of happiness. My definition, and don't think that I own this definition. Don't think that I think that your definition has to be the same as mine. No. One of the biggest practices, if you want to experience more happiness, and let me be very clear about what I mean when I say happiness. It is an internal job. It is an internal project. It is an internal work, internal practice. So my definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. The ability to be at peace, and that means vibrate the energy of peace. That means if you're standing in a rowboat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and the waves are churning and the tsunami is coming and the wind is blowing and the rowboat is shaking, back and forth, but guess what? You are at peace. Is that even possible? Is that even possible, Rebecca, to be at peace when the world is falling apart? What, do you have your head in the sand, Rebecca? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What are you, some kind of Pollyanna? No. Well, you can believe whatever you want to believe about me, but what I'm telling you is I have the same. I have challenges too, and don't tell the universe this. I use the term universe, but you can switch with God, source, higher power, spirit, and quite frankly, for all you people that don't believe in God, you have a place here too, because this is talking about energy. And regardless of whether you believe in God or you don't, you cannot deny energy. Oh, maybe you can, quite frankly. Yeah, you know what? Let me scratch that. Maybe you can, but this is a journey about your energy and how. When I say energy, you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference whether you are feeling open, whether you are feeling acceptance, whether you're feeling sad, depressed, angry, irritated. You can feel that. You can feel that difference. And who doesn't want to feel great in every moment? I'm raising my hand, but guess what? Feeling great in every moment, it's even more than that. The practice is even deeper than that. The practice is, okay, the question is, where do you live? Where do you reside? You are either on the surface of the ocean where you are subjected to feelings based on what's happening out there, based on the world, based on politics, based on the weather, based on your health, based on your bank account, based on your relationships. And I'm here to tell you, you have more power than that. All of your power comes from within. All of your power comes from that person in the mirror. Believe me. Trust me on that. You, not anybody else, you are powerful. When you walk into a room, into a pitch black room, when you walk into a room, and I'm getting way off the topic, but that's okay. When you walk into a pitch black room and you turn on the light, the darkness disappears. This is about you being that light, you being so light that there is nothing outside that is going to affect your energy, your vibration, your peace. Absolutely nothing. Is it possible? It's a practice. Happiness is a practiced skill. Let me repeat that. Happiness is a practice skill. And when I use that word happy, I know sometimes it gets a bad rap. When I use that word happy, I'm talking about a state of mind. I'm talking about a state in mind. I'm talking about your vibration, your energy. What are you rooted in? Who are you at your core? And when I use the word happy, my favorite word is contentment. Being content, vibrating contentment in every single moment. Is that possible? Yes, with practice. 40 years of practice over here, 40 years of practice. But I'm telling you, the rewards I wouldn't trade. If somebody offered me $5 billion, I don't need $5 billion. 500 million, okay? Let's just go with that. That's a nice, reasonable figure. I wouldn't take it if the be who you used to be 2 years ago. Change back into who you used to be a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Now I'm going to start 20 years ago. I wouldn't take it. The practice, when I say happiness is a practice skill, contentment is a practice skill, peace is a practice skill. It is all about the practice. And I'm going to get to the people in the queue. If you want to speak with me live, and thank you for listening, my wisdom community. If you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. And that is the way to call in and speak with me live. I'm not going to accept any guests on wisdom in this moment. And the only reason is I don't know how to control the time. And the reason why I was put on this planet is to answer questions. I'm not pretending to have all the answers, but answer questions from a happiness, peace, contentment specialist from my perspective. And I'm really about problems, solutions. What are the challenges? What are the solutions? And when I say solutions, how to move forward where the outcome is going to bring you peace. How to experience, how to navigate, how to journey along this journey. And the experience is peace. One of my favorite things in the topic today, I was inspired to talk about this because this week I was looking at something on Instagram, and one of the posts was triggers, and they were talking about the person was talking about having a trigger and how triggers affected them. And I just this week, isn't it magical how the universe works? Just this week, well, I knew this already, but it was just thrown in my face again. You know how the universe works. Just throws it in my face, throws it in my face, throws it in my face until, oh, really? Thanks. Duh. That kind. So it was just thrown in my face again, something about another trigger, which these triggers, we all have them. Some call them triggers, some call them pushing my buttons. Well, let me tell you something. Put your seatbelts on, and you may not like this. And I'm used to it. I'm used to all of the scowls and the dirty looks and the judgments, and I mean that. I got it. And the anger directed toward me and the irritation and who the hell does she think she is? I get all of that. But one of the things that this trigger, this button, if you have triggers, if you have something that can, quote, push your buttons, then guess what? The truth is, that's all on you. It's not about them. It's not about what someone does, what someone else says, state of the world. You know, those inconsiderate people. People are rude. Oh, they're so rude. That's another trigger. They're so disrespectful. That's another trigger. So only you're the only one, because you're the only one that is in the mirror. You are the only one that can say, well, this is a trigger, that's a trigger for me. We're all different. Let me just get back to let me ask you some questions. Really quick questions I like to ask at the beginning of the show. And so on a scale from 1 to 10, and again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. Let me ask you, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is happiness in your life? Meaning, how important is having the vibration, having the energy of peace, contentment for the majority of the journey, how important is that to you? And then let me ask you what your definition of happiness is. I gave you my definition, the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. That includes in the moment. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Someone cuts in line in front of you at the grocery store, or the person in line doesn't have their change out, or they're too slow, or they're talking. How about this one? They're talking to the cashier, and they're wasting time. They're wasting my time. I'm in a hurry. Let me just give you a really quick one. You want to feel a little bit more peaceful for the rest of the journey? Let go of this rushing thing. Stop rushing. Stop thinking that you're wasting time. I know that's a hard one. I know. But in the bigger scheme, there's no such thing as time. But anyway, I digress again. Let me get back to the questions. Who or what is subtracting from your peace or your contentment today? Hint, hint, hint. Look in the mirror. Oh, that hurts. Oh, stab to the heart. Look in the mirror. But the good news is, if that's the solution to look in the mirror, and I say it is, it's what I've had to do, is look at how powerful you are. Look at how powerful that whole statement, looking in the mirror. It's you. That means you can make a change. You can make a shift. What was that Michael Jackson song? I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Ooh, ooh, and that's it to change your ways. Ooh. Woo. Wow. Where's my orchestra? So let me ask these questions. These are just yes or no questions. Can other people hurt your feelings? Can other people disappoint you? Do you blame other people for how you're feeling? Do you blame your circumstances for how you're feeling? We talked about feelings last week and how feelings are, feelings are just like the ocean's tides. They go in, they come out. They come in, they go out. It's nonstop. If you're human, you are going to have feelings. You are going to feel. You're going to be emotional. But the programming says, I'm feeling this way because of this event, because of what this person did, because of my circumstances. And I'm here to tell you, the reality spirituality is you're just feeling. The programming gets in trying to put a story behind it and saying, I'm feeling this way because. I'm triggered because. And that let me just back up a little bit. One of the things that I am fanatic about, not even a fanatic, it's just my destiny. I mean, I can feel when the truth is spoken. My body chills up. I can feel the truth, and I'm not talking about, well, this is your truth and this is your truth. I'm talking about a universal truth, meaning that if you jump off a building, you're going to be falling splat on the floor. Universal truth, not individual, my truth, no. Universal truth. So when I talk about these emotions, and trust me on this, before I even share anything, or while I'm sharing, I got to practice too. I'm practicing all the time. It is a constant practice. Let me just back up. One of the things that we are all programmed to do is blame outside external circumstances for how we're feeling. And I'm here to tell you, I call it the blame game. The blame game people play, it's not your circumstances. It's not the relationship you do or you don't have. It's not who won the election or the price of gas or the weather. It's not your health or the aches and pains of life. It's not money. I'm going to add, what I talk about, what I've shared before is these people that are quote unquote successful according to the world, from Michael Jackson, Prince, Anthony Bourdain, and I have a new one now, Kurt Cobain. I wasn't really a fan, meaning that not that his music wasn't good, it just wasn't my cup of tea. And I was watching some special on him, and I guess he committed suicide. So all of these people that quote successful, Robin Williams, successful, a lot of money, but where's the peace? Well, where's the peace? So, again, if you want to call in and ask me a question, the number is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. I have a few people in the queue, and you press the number 1, and then you can ask me a question. And the interesting thing about this, doing everything live, there were a few people that had questions, and for whatever reason, they bailed, they left. And let me share this. One of the practices, not to take anything that anyone else does or says to you personally. Now, my ego will say, well, gee, Rebecca, your introduction is really long, and that's why they left. It does. See, the stories, the ego will always come up with some story about what I did wrong, what I said wrong. But the truth is, whatever's happening is supposed to happen, and if it's not happening, it's not supposed to happen. Can you imagine how lighter you would feel if you practiced that? This ego wants or thinks that its way is the way. And I have my ego on a very short leash, and I know exactly when it's talking. We talked about that last week. It's an identity theft. It's a culprit. It's an identity theft. It wants my ego, and when I say ego, it's the mind, it's the lower consciousness, whatever name you want to describe it, because quite frankly, that's another thing that doesn't have power. I can't be insulted, and I can't be complimented. Was I always like that? Hell no. It's a practice. So let me get back to the blame game. Your peace, it's not money. It's not how you look or how much you weigh. It's not your children. It's not your parents. It's not your coworkers. Your happiness or your inner peace depends on what you practice on a daily basis, on a moment-by-moment basis, making choices in every moment. If you want to change whatever you're challenged by in this moment, guess what? Just change your perspective. Instant. But I wasn't taught to change my perspective if I didn't like what I saw or didn't like what I was experiencing. One of the practices is being open, practicing changing your perspective. Forgive me, my listeners that have been listening to the show forever. Only because, I'm going to put that on my list of things to do. Let me just give you this one example that I've used forever, and I just haven't come up with another example. Here we go for an example of changing perspective. You're driving on the highway. You're driving on the freeway. Someone recklessly cuts you off. You have to swerve to avoid an accident. You're cursing. You're calling them names. You're talking about what and say. You're enraged. Road rage. Well, what if you found out that person that was driving so recklessly, that was going in and out of lanes, speeding, going 90 miles an hour, was on the way to the hospital because they just found out that their child was in intensive care? Usually, you can switch your perspective really quickly. That's the same thing if you say you're having an argument with your loved one. Shouting match, if you will. Let's do that. Shouting match in the house. Ah, ah, back and forth. And the phone rings. and the phone rings. Do you answer the phone, hello? Or do you switch it up and answer the phone, hello? So that's what I'm talking about. Just being aware of you can switch your energy, you can switch your perspective in an instant. Let me get to today's topics. Oh, but before I do that, I have to share this. This is one of my favorites. You can Google it. It's called The 5 Regrets, the 5 most common regrets of the dying. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. You can Google that, or you can Google Bronnie Ware, Bronnie, and she was is a hospice nurse. And so she asked her patients, these people having limited amount of time on the planet, from days to weeks to months. In fact, my neighbor, I have a neighbor here that's about 4 doors down, and her husband has weeks to live. I mean, I saw him a couple of days ago, and it's just days. And so the question that she asked her patients, the 5 most common regrets of the dying. The first one is, I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. I put an asterisk on that one. Sometimes we outgrow our friends. Sometimes we outgrow people. And the last one is, I wish I would have let myself be happier. I wish I had let myself be happier. So that's what this show is about. It's about the journey. My favorite quote from Abraham is, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. Let's get to today's topics. Triggers. Woo-wee. Is anybody out there that doesn't have a trigger? And by the way, my wisdom community, if you want to speak with me live, the number is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619 to ask your questions, to make a comment, to share your perspective on the show. The number is 646-564-9619. Let me get to this triggers. Oh, shoot. Oh, you know, I have the photograph, too. Because I saw this post on Instagram about triggers, and the person did a long video about it. Not a long video, but, you know, maybe 10 minutes or so, 8 minutes. I really don't remember. The universe keeps me in the present moment. It's horrible. Don't let me try to remember anything from yesterday or a week ago. Whew. Backing up, I digress. The video was about having triggers, and yes, I'm raising both hands on the triggers, because for decades, in fact, I remember raising my son, my only son. One of the things that, this is just terrible, but I have to share. One of the things that I said over and over and over, poor kid, don't ask me any questions that you already know the answer to. I used to tell him that at a very early age. Don't ask me any questions that you already know the answers to. Translated, don't ask me any stupid questions. Oh, gosh. Ooh. Don't ask me any stupid questions. Yes, I'll admit, I'm admitting it now, stupid questions used to be a trigger for me. But what switched from stupid questions comes programmed questions, programmed comments. Let me give you an example. Oh, boy. I mean, I have my eyes closed. I'm cringing here, but I have to share it. Full disclosure. Full disclosure. And it just, oof. But the truth is, what I'm about to tell you, the story I'm about to share, has nothing to do with the program questions, the program comments, or the, quote, stupid questions. Oh, it really hurts. Got to look in the mirror, got to stay in the mirror. Here we go. The programmed questions of, especially if you're out and about on a Friday, hey, you have any plans for the weekend? Doing anything fun for the weekend? An innocent question, a programmed question that I'm telling you right now puts me into such a triggered mode. I'm going to use that in the past tense. Used to take me from 0 to 100. Lack of self, and because of my judgments about, oh, they're not even aware. What kind of question is that? Can't you even be original? You know, all of these thoughts, all of these stories in my head, to put it out there, oh, it's them. And then, of course, on Monday you have the, hey, what did you do over the weekend? Do anything fun over the weekend? How was your weekend? Oh, my goodness. And here we go, another program question. Oh, my goodness. How's your day going? The customer service. I used to blame customer service for all of my problems, for all of my discontent, for all of my discontentment. I would blame customer service and the stupid questions and not getting service as quickly as possible and not getting service by someone that knew what they were doing. Put me through to a supervisor. No, you don't understand. You don't have the, give me, what is it when I call Apple? Oh, give me a senior tech support person, please. That customer service had me wrapped up. But let me be, if I'm going back to last week's talk about the identity theft, I refuse to identify with who was bothered, who was annoyed, who was triggered, whose buttons were pushed. That's all ego. My ego is triggered. My ego is annoyed. My ego is buttons are pushed. It's not me. But let's get back to a real life example. And the universe just works with me all the time because, I mean, if I'm claiming to be a happiness specialist, I'm walking it. And this customer service and the stupid questions, and scratch the stupid questions, the program questions, the robotic questions, I was at the bank, and there's a whole script. The scripts. How is your day going today? And it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Or just that whole how are you? Oh, God. Bothers the hell out of me. How are you? My point is, my ego will tell me, can't you be original? Can't you think of another way? Do you really care? Customer service, how are you? Is that really sincere, or you're sprouting out a program? I mean, can you follow what I'm saying here? So let me get back to one of my program questions that used to just take me all the way out, climbing on the wall, just pulling my hair out. I'm losing my hair anyway, pulling it out even more. Is the question after the end of having a transaction either in person or over the phone. And that program question is, you ready? The program question Is there anything else I can help you with? Is there anything else I can help you with? Now, I'll give you the reason why I'll give you my ego's reason why that question bothers me. And let me share this too, as I get my notes. Let me share this too, that the ego, my critical mind, my lower consciousness, will always find a problem. Always. There is never a moment, there is never sustaining contentment. At least that's what I found with my ego. Never content. So here we go with that question, which was, I mean, come on. I know it sounds trivial, but it's huge. My ego thinks it's huge. Is there anything else I can help you with? And if I call AT&T customer service, Apple customer service, any customer service, that is the last question that they ask, probably 99% of the time. And I'm going to have to say, 99% of the time, my ego gets triggered. And I'll give you the reasons why. It's because it's a program. It's because they're not really aware of what they're saying. They're just robots spitting out a script. Wake up, people, wake up, is in my head. You know, of course I'm justified with all of the reasons why. The ego, not only will it make me feel triggered, but it will make me feel justified for being triggered. Ooh, it's tricky. The ego will make me feel justified for the trigger. I know these people that are rude, these people are bad drivers, these people that are inconsiderate, these people that are narcissists, these people that are racist, these people, you know, those people will give me, my ego will give me a justification for judging them. I've shared this before, but you know what I used to think? I used to think if the world was more like me, it would be a better place. If the world thought and behaved like me, this would be a better place. The arrogance of that statement. That's still ego-driven. And at this point, after 40-plus years of practice and study, I've come to know and believe that this world is in divine order, whether you want to say it is or it isn't. There's nothing out in nature that isn't in order. Nothing in nature that isn't in order. And that's the way I choose to look at and to perceive the planet. And it's not my response. You know, the universe has this set up, so I either trust and believe that or I don't. I may not understand it. I may not get it. I may not understand or even, I mean, because, come on, it's so deep that my little pea brain may not be able to comprehend the divine order of this world. But I trust that and I believe that. Let me get back to the triggers. So I'm in the bank. I just finished teaching two exercise classes. I've been teaching fitness classes for over 40 years also. And it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday, just Friday. And, you know, the energy was going, the endorphins, it was great. Listen, anytime I can torture virtual strangers, I mean, it just makes my day. I hope I didn't say that out loud. The number to call in and speak with me live, if you want to speak with me live from my wisdom community, is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. Call in, press the number 1, and I will bring you on live. You can ask a question, make a comment, share your perspective. If you have a challenge, I'm about challenges, solutions. Last time, the number is area code 646-564-9619. And with that, we are going to take a quick break, about a minute, and I will come back. I will share with you what I discovered about this trigger that I've had for decades and how it just went away. Scratch the went away, and how I discovered the truth about this trigger. Hold on. See you back in 1 minute.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you're gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Woo! Welcome back. Were you sitting on the edge of your seat? Here we go. On Friday, and I talked about how I just taught classes, and of course the energy is flowing, the endorphins are endorphing, I'm feeling good, all of that, which is I can feel it in my body feeling good. I get to the bank and, transaction, money orders, pay bills, deposit, withdraw, transfer, all of that. And then, of course, at the end, the woman asked me, the teller asked me, is there anything else I can help you with? Now, mind you, I'm one of those people that when I go to the bank, I have everything in order. I have everything filled out correctly, transfer slip, withdrawal slip, money orders listed, adding. Everything is very, very clear. One of the things I like to do is make people's job easier. If you're a cashier, I like to have my money out, make your job easier. It's just one of my things. So I was very clear with what I needed: 2 money orders, transfer, withdrawal. And then at the end of all of that, the teller asked me, is there anything else I can help you with? Well, for the last decades, that question, I'm not going to say, because I don't remember exactly, so I'm going to say that 99% or 98%, let me just say 98% of the time when that question was asked of me, I was always, scratch that, my ego was always, without, you can, like clockwork, I was triggered. I already talked about why, which is another story, which are stories by the ego, authored by the ego. I already talked about why, but the trigger is all 98% of the time I'm triggered by that. Is there anything else I can help you with? Triggers are different than yours. Just saying it out loud, it sounds so stupid. It sounds so trivial. It sounds so simple. For some reason, my lips won't let me pronounce trivial. Oh, I did it! Yay! that time on that Friday, last Friday, I responded. I pleasantly responded. I even added a little sugar and syrup on my response. I said, no, thank you. Everything's fine. I'm good. I don't need anything else. Excuse me. I don't need anything else. Thank you. When I add sugar, I kind of sing the responses. No, thank you. No. Yeah, that little extra dab of sugar, that extra dab of honey. And it's not fake, but it was a genuine, no, I'm thank you. No, thank you. And I have to say that in that moment, after that moment, I had one of those aha, wow, this is the truth moments. Why 98% of the time I'm triggered by that question, and on this particular day, in this particular moment, I was able to respond like a civil human being and say, no, thank you, I'm good. You've been very helpful. Have a good day. Thank you. Goodbye. Why 2%? Why was I able to do that in that moment? Now, my ego came up with the story. Here we go. My ego came up with a story. Well, you just finished exercising. You have all this energy. Your endorphins are full. Are affected. You're feeling good. You're feeling great. That's why you can. That's why you can respond that way. That's not the truth either. That wasn't the truth either. But just that moment, just that 2% of the time when I could respond with a sincere, no, thank you, I'm good. That, when I can respond like that, guess what that means? That means I can respond like that in any moment. That means that the ego, that ego telling me a story about why I'm triggered, has been exposed. See, anytime the ego, the lower consciousness is exposed, what does it do? It goes scrambling. I talked about earlier, you walk into a dark room. You walk into a dark room and you turn on the light. The darkness disappears. The ego goes scrambling away when the light is shined on it. It's exposing the ego to what is exposed. Let me speak for me. Is exposing my ego. All of these years, I'm thinking that, something external, something out there triggers me. It's them. It's not me. And what does the ego, the lower consciousness need more than anything else? Want more than anything else. You ready? To stay alive. My ego is counting on me, believing, thinking that that's me. I was just shown that I can respond to a program question, is that all that I can help you with? Or is that all you need help with? I can respond in a different way. So what does that mean? That means I can respond that way all the time. That means the jig is up. That means that that's not a trigger. So, and I wrote something. You know what? Let me see if I can do this. I don't know if I can look at another screen if I'm still live on Wisdom. Can I do that? Did I lose you guys? I just want to know if I lose you. I just want to read this because I wrote, okay, here we go. There's no such thing as a trigger. Triggers are an illusion authored and programmed by the ego, the mind, the lower consciousness. The ego generates a story as to why I'm feeling a certain way. Here's a hint. You can pay attention to how often you use the word because. Pay attention to how often you use that word because. That word because says that I'm feeling this way because, and after the because there's always a story. So that the truth is all reasons why need to be questioned. The because needs to be questioned. Emotions and feelings come and go, just like the tides of the ocean. We talked about that last week. Or the phases of the moon. I know I was programmed to believe that there's a reason why. I know I was programmed to believe that this is why I'm triggered. But the truth is, the reason why I'm feeling any kind of way, whether I'm feeling open, you want to use a label great, or the opposite of great, it's just because it's time. That's why triggers don't work for me anymore. I'm up here telling you, listen, you can hold on to your trigger if you want to, but it's not working for me anymore. It's exposed. It's not about what anyone says to me. It's not about customer service. It's not about the program questions. And when my ego gets exposed, what does it do? It looks to find another project, find something else to deceive me with. I'm not hating on the ego. I just know its job. I just know its role. I know its position. I know what it does. Its only job, its single job, is to make me feel like shit for as long as possible. That's its job. To find something wrong with the present moment. That's its job. And it does it really well. So the practice is, when I say happiness is a practice skill, being content, having contented energy all the time is a practice skill. It has nothing to do with anything on the surface. I know that I can't control anything outside of myself. If I'm hearing a stupid question or a program question, guess what? It's still on me. It's still on me, because that's my lack of acceptance of someone else or the circumstances. Lack of taking responsibility. I'm triggered. That's lack of, I'm just speaking for myself. Don't think I'm talking to you. Speaking for myself. Lack of taking responsibility. I'm triggered because. And don't think, I said it again, I said it earlier, don't think that my ego is not noble and justified in being triggered by something outside of myself. Again, the number to call in if you speak with me live is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. There's nothing to look outside at. It's all. This is an internal game. The struggle is always internal. All suffering, all triggers, suffering comes from thinking that something needs to be different than what is actually happening. The struggle, I'll just read that again because this is just one thing I like to remind myself. The struggle is always internal. All suffering comes from thinking that something needs to be different than what is actually happening. The truth is the vibration of satisfaction is not taught in today's world. And let me talk about that just for a second. This thing about being dissatisfied sells. Dissatisfaction sells. Oh, you see the advertisement. Are you feeling joy? Are you feeling happiness? Are you feeling peace? ease, balance, flow, abundance. Oh, that's a trigger. That's a trigger word. Abundance, manifestation. Are you feeling these, or are you not? Dissatisfaction sells in this world, and I'm here to tell you that the practice is to be satisfied with where you are, who you are in this moment, period. And when I say satisfied, I'm really talking about a huge, huge, huge amount of acceptance of self, acceptance of that person in the mirror, regardless of whether, okay, scratch this. I'm going to throw this out. Regardless of whether you intend to or have a goal and you don't make your goal, or you have a goal and you accomplish your goal. See, I know this is seatbelts. This is a hard one. Goals. The only goal, my goals are in my head, and my goals or intentions are just to practice more self-awareness, more consciousness, more letting go, more acceptance, more trust, more choosing perspective. That's it. Goal, I get it. I really do understand it. I know what this world programs us to have goals and accomplish. I get it. And the only reason why I'm questioning it, the only reason is after the goal is met, after the goal is accomplished, after you have achieved that goal, how long are you feeling peaceful? Or is it something else? See, and hopefully I'm explaining it with clarity. The present moment, whatever you're vibrating and whatever your energy is in the present moment is what you are going to take with you for the future moments. So the accomplishment of the goals, I get it. I'm not saying don't make goals, don't accomplish goals. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm telling you is that my perspective, let me throw this, and don't think that I think that I have the answers for everything, but my perspective is, my goal is to be peaceful in all moments, period. Everything else can fall into place. My goal is to have a vibration of contentment in every moment. Everything else can fall into place. So my contentment and my peace has nothing to do with anything that I'm achieving or something or on my to-do list. No, my peace and my contentment is never leaving. It's there. It's not going anywhere, whether I achieve my goals or I don't. That is the difference. Hopefully that's clear. Let me get back to the triggers. So now here I discover, to my chagrin, that the triggers aren't even real. That I'm up here, the triggers are authored by the ego just to keep me having drama, to keep me in the midst of drama, because triggers are really, all it is drama. I mean, come on. So you're either making choices from a place of drama or peace. So here I discovered that, at least for me, the triggers, years and years of triggers, 98% of the time, the program questions as triggers are an illusion. Created, drummed up by my ego, that always has that will always give me something to be annoyed at, bothered about, especially when I could respond, or I responded the way I did. That's the clue right there that told me, Rebecca, those triggers are all ego-based. Those triggers are all programmed. Triggers are all about yesterday. You're not in the present moment. if you are bothered by a trigger. And on that afternoon in the bank, I had an experience with the present moment. And that question did not trigger, bother, annoy me. And that's living in the present moment. And when you are living in the present moment, triggers don't exist. What? She said, if you're living in the present moment, if you're conscious, if you're self-aware, if you're in the present moment, there's no such thing as a trigger. Oh, blasphemy. I don't believe it. That's how I'm riding for the rest of this journey. Because if that question didn't bother me, and 98% of the time it has, and all of a sudden it didn't, that just meant I was really in the present moment. Let me talk about the next topic. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. If you're in the present moment, there is no such thing as a trigger. Oh, I got to write that down. That's borderlining on genius. That's right, I can say it. Summing up triggers. Not in the present moment if you're triggered. Okay, let's talk about the second thing I want to talk about is this getting older programming. Now, when I say program for unhappiness, I'm talking about there are beliefs, there deep-seated, deep-rooted beliefs that are part of a programming that unless there is a light shined on, unless they've been exposed, these programs are not going away. They're not going to leave. And so I'm going to share with you my program for this getting older. Oh, I'm 66 now. Even chokes me up to say, there was a time recently that I wouldn't even say my age. The programming of thinking that 66 sounds old, or if someone knows that I'm 66 now, they're going to have a judgment about me. Or, I'm just talking about the programs in my head. Or age is just a number. That's a program too. All of that, struggling with, and I'm speaking of myself, struggling with not saying the truth for a program reason. I could feel there's a hint of anytime I'm not spewing out the truth, there's two reasons. Number one, it may be private, and that's fine. Number two, shame or fear. Let me throw in fear too. And I use those terms. Because I can feel myself, and I can feel there was some kind of 66, and I was 40s and 50s, no problem, but 66 somehow that just gets stuck, but not anymore. So getting back to the program of getting older. Now, being a fitness instructor, being an athlete, there are just some things that I cannot do anymore. I can't do the same things I could do at 25, at 30, at 40. I remember counting 500 reps on one leg and doing 500 reps on the other leg. And that's when I was teaching classes. I was a boot camp instructor. Surprise! And then getting to a place where this getting older programming and feeling bad about what I couldn't do, can't do. And I know it's a process. This getting older, this journey and growing is a process. It doesn't, certain things can happen overnight, but certain things for me, they just didn't happen overnight. And letting go of what I used to do, what I used to look like, and I'm talking about physically. Because boy, oh boy, can skin stretch and fall. Skin falling, skin stretching, what the hell? That took a lot of adjustments, too. Adjustments, meaning adjustments of acceptance, practice of acceptance, and exposing the programming of getting old. This getting old programming, yeah, the body is getting older. But what does that mean? There's a lot of program beliefs, a lot of negativity about, I'm speaking of myself, a lot of negativity surrounding it, but here we go. So now let's get to the hair. And this thing with this hair and the program belief, and I'm only speaking for myself, around hair, and I just remember at an early age, I have curly hair, and at an early age, having my hair pressed to straighten it, being brought up in a home where hair had to look a certain way. My father, Ralph Norrington, did not like curly hair, and especially curly hair that was wild and curly. No, he liked straight hair. He liked hair, every hair in its place, nice, coiffed, neat hair, which is the opposite of my hair. And I'll get to the point one of these days, so I'll get to the point. And so I had this whole thing, this growing up with the hair, this too curly, and at a very young age, my mother, it's called a perm. In the black community, it's called getting a relaxer. That's what it's called, a relaxer. And I'm telling you, for, teenage, 20s, 30s, 40s, I relaxed my hair. And I can't even, you can imagine all the stories. We all have, especially if you're a woman, a girl, woman, whatever you want to be called, female, that this hair thing is real, the programming. And so now I'm at a certain age where I've got gray hair, and I've been dyeing my hair. I've been dyeing my hair to cover the gray for, 20 years? It's been at least 15, 20 years. So I used to add highlights to it, but now the gray, can't have gray, and that started at a very early age. By the way, do you know the correct way to spell gray, especially if you're saying you have gray hair? Is it Gray or Grey? I looked that up, and they're both correct. Gray is if you're living in the United States, American version, and the gray spelled Gray, and the Grey is, I think, British, English, different type of English. Anyway, I thought that was fascinating. Both ways of spelling gray hair is correct. I digress. Let me get back to the coloring the gray and the programming of I am not going to walk around here. I do not have the courage. I do not have the guts. I do not want to look like I do not want to have gray hair now, which is another programming. But the good news is when you recognize the program beliefs, when you recognize your program beliefs, that's the first step, to put a spotlight on them. Oh, this is the programming. I'm feeling there's something wrong with me, not anyone else, having gray hair. Because I see tons of women with beautiful gray hair. And usually I make a comment, wow, such beautiful gray hair you have. And I can see beautiful gray hair on everybody else but me. I can see beautiful gray hair on women, but everyone, but I can't or come to the conclusion that gray hair is going to look good on me. Woo! And that's a deep ass, getting older, growing older programming. What is my point? Do I even have a point? You can decide. My point is, because, I'm dyeing the hair, what is it, every 2 months, 3 months. And every time I think about it, wow, you really don't think that gray hair is going to look good, you're going to look older. Just all these judgments about having gray hair. Negative judgments. There's nothing positive. Absolutely nothing. Not with me. I can see positivity with other people, but absolutely no positive. Nothing. But the awareness and the acceptance and speaking and knowing that truth is battle won. And now, whenever, because I do feel I may be off, there will be a time where my perspective shifts, there will be a time, or maybe not, because stay open. There may come a time where I'm going to accept and stop coloring my hair and let this gray shine. Ooh, that doesn't even sound good. Let this gray shine. Yikes. I have a feeling I'm moving that way. But before I get there, and until I get there, it's the awareness of that there is a programming about having gray hair. In my head, there is a programming about getting older in my head, and just recognizing it and accepting it and letting everything go. And then I also believe, know, and trust and surrender to there will be a time where that is not important. Having gray hair or not having gray hair is not, quote, important. One of the things that I talk about is the behaviors that subtract from happiness. Two of the behaviors program behaviors that subtract from happiness is thinking that something is important, thinking something is important, and believing and thinking that something is serious. Both of those things subtract from your peace and your happiness. Program behaviors. But for me, the growth comes with time. And those program beliefs soften with time. And those program behaviors, if and when you practice self-awareness, leave, disperse with time. The question becomes, the practice is, do you have enough patience and acceptance and trust to believe that everything that you are experiencing is there for a divine purpose, to let go. Let me give you my example. One of my favorite is whatever. Think about your dream car. Think about your favorite dream car. You had all the money in the world. What would it be? Would it be a Ferrari? Would it be a Rolls? Would it be a Bentley? Would it be a Range Rover, Lamborghini? Would it be a Jeep? Tesla? Anyway, your favorite dream car. And you're sitting in the favorite dream car, favorite color. You're sitting in the passenger seat, your favorite dream car. The question is, who's driving? Who's driving? The answer, it ain't you. The universe is driving. Use whatever term you want, source, higher power. The universe is driving. And the realization is whenever it's time for anything to shift, for anything to change, for anything to be different, oh, it's going to change. It's going to shift. It's going to be different. And so my acceptance of coloring my hair at this point, because I'm just sorry, I'm just not into the gray yet. But who knows? That could change next week. That could change in 3 months. And so practice living and being open to all possibilities, to all change, especially with yourself. And when you're open and accepting without judgment with self, you are going to be able to be the example of that, number one, and number two, give that gift to others. The gift of acceptance without judgment is one of the biggest gifts you can give anyone. Acceptance without judgment. Because you can feel it. And that goes for everybody. That goes for people that don't agree with you, that people are on the opposite side of the fence, because it's easy not to judge and accept people that have the same mindset, the same perspective. Republican and Democrat. Let's just go there. It's easy. But I'm here to say that the power, the rewards come from growth, which is, in my experience, is not that easy. It is a road less traveled. Looking in the mirror is a road. Looking in the mirror for solutions. Let's get down to a percentage. It is the road less traveled. Acceptance of self, acceptance of others without judgment. And so the whole gray hair, yeah, not doing it right now, but who knows what's going to happen in 3 months. Let me just go over my notes. And again, if there's anyone that wants to speak with me live before I close the show out, the number is area code 646-564-9619. I just want to look over my notes really quick because sometimes I just get going and how my hair should look. Yes. So at this particular, the program belief of how my hair should look, that should thing, that should word, I don't even use it. That should word, it's never about what I should do. It's what I'm inspired to do. I'm inspired, not what I should. That's a big one. Letting go of that should, I should. Can you imagine how lighter you would feel if you let go of all of your shoulds? It's like going on a trip. You're traveling, you have your suitcases, and you overpacked, and you're carrying around all these suitcases that you don't need. So you want to feel a little bit lighter, get rid of some of those suitcases, those program suitcases. That's another thing. That programming, that should word is a total program. What I should do at this time, what I should be looking like at this certain age, what I should have accomplished by now. How about that one? Hold on, I'm just reviewing my notes. Just want to make sure I talked about everything that I want to talk about with triggers. If you're discussing, if you are discussing other people and making a judgment about someone else, you are subtracting from your own peace and your own happiness. You might as well shoot yourself in the foot. And there is a big difference. Here we go. There's a big difference between judgment and description. If you're describing a person or an incident or a place, it's different than making a judgment about it. Those judgments are heavy. All judgments are a program. Brainwash, conditioning. All judgments are a program. That means you learned. And whatever you learned, my dear audience, you can unlearn. Whatever you learned, the good news is you can unlearn. And there is a difference between judging someone, judging a situation, and witnessing and describing. I can say that a person is cheap, frugal, money's important to them, nickel, saving in a nickel. That's a description. But the judgment of something's wrong with that is a totally different vibration, a totally different energy. This show is about reality, spirituality, the truth about happiness, and my purpose on this journey is just to share with you what I've learned about the truth about happiness. Happiness is a practice skill. It is about what you practice in every moment. And so what are some of the behaviors that subtract from happiness? Lack of acceptance, lack of growth, the need to be right, being critical of yourself or others, the inability to forget, to hold the grudge. Oh, my goodness, I won the Guinness Book of Records holding grudges. Oh, I could hold a grudge for years. And I was proud of it. No. Listen, there are people that have done things or put me in situations where, quite frankly, I wouldn't have chosen. But even to the attorney that helped draft an amendment to gift the family house to the handyman, even the handyman and the attorney, I could sit and have lunch with them tomorrow. I don't have any grudges against them. There was never any wrong being done to me. No, what happened was that the universe wanted me to experience that for a bigger reason, for a bigger purpose. So I could let go of expectations, could let go of physical attachments, could let go of blaming someone else. Because attorney and the handyman didn't do anything. The universe set me up. And that's how I view everything. It's a setup. It's a cold setup. But the practice is trusting that whatever I'm experiencing, whenever I'm experiencing it, is there to serve me. Some of the other program behaviors that subtract from happiness is taking anything personally. I don't care if they're calling your name, if they're pointing their finger at you. It's never personal. This is an impersonal world, an impersonal universe. Out in nature, it's impersonal. This is the other thing, complaining about something or somebody that you don't have control over. Trying to control anything outside of yourself. You know what else? I just want to close with this. My prescription is, let's start today. You find something to laugh at every day. And I mean that's an assignment. That's a homework assignment. I command you. I order you. Find something to laugh at every single day. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Every day. Put that on your list of things to do. There is an energy. There is an energy with laughter. It is a medicine. It is healing, I believe. Scratch the healing. It is a natural feel-good state, laughing. And my go-to is that show that I just discovered a few months ago is Wipeout. Oh, I can't stop giggling and laughing. Wipeout. Oh, if you haven't seen it, I know it's a little corny, but then again, that's my cup of tea. The other things that subtract from happiness is I already said that, thinking anything is serious, thinking anything is important. All expectations, and I'm going to throw this at you. I know, this is a hard one. Maybe we'll talk about this one next week. Giving power to words. The program is words are powerful. I get it. I know it. And I'm here to tell you that innately words are not powerful, that you were not born being able to be offended, insulted, having hurt feelings based on someone else calling you something. How is that for power? Some of the behaviors that add to happiness, that add to your peace, is choosing your perspective, choosing your focus, having patience, being self-aware, witnessing moments instead of personalizing and identifying with moments, recognizing, humbling that ego. The ego will do anything to survive. Anything to survive. Trust, living consciously, a loving relationship with yourself without criticism, and a relationship with the universe or God or source. I mean an active relationship. Surrendering to whatever is happening in the moment, knowing yourself. A daily practice of adding those behaviors that add to happiness in your life, a daily practice of that, meaning acceptance without judgment. Where you are in this moment, forevermore. Well, that's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington, LinkedIn, and my Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. I have a few videos on YouTube. Of course, my YouTube channel is work in progress, and I've been saying that for months now, if not years. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com, and my first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be found on Amazon. That was self-published in 2014. And the book I read is a collaboration of 25 authors that was out in March 2022, and I just wrote a chapter in that book. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe, your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting yourself and where you are in every moment. That vibration of satisfaction is real, and I guarantee that if you're dissatisfied in your present moment, you're going to be carrying that dissatisfaction into your future moments. Be your own best friend, and remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist and inner peace practitioner, Rebecca L. Norrington. Happiness is a practice skill, and I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you will find, the more peace you'll discover, the more peace you will experience. And when I say peace, again, it's an energy of contentment. And every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real.